Welcome to the United stand. Thomas the Tank Engine rolled into town, free as a bird. Anyway, enough with the red tinted glasses. I just had to do that. They were floating around the house. Hello and welcome to the United stand. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will apparently have £200 million to spend in the summer if he's the manager. But even if he's not the manager, he will have an input in that. We'll be talking about that tonight. £200 million. Is it enough? What would you do with it? We've been asking people on Twitter. We're going to be asking you. It is the Discord calling as well. The link is in the video description. Get involved with that. Get yourself on Discord. We will be taking your calls. I want to talk about the 200 million as well. I want to talk about the summer because that's all very important. Smash a like on the video. But there's something I'm more intrigued by today before we talk about the £200 million. That is relevant news that I think if you used it as a headline, people wouldn't be that interested. But I know that you are culture vultures on the United stand. Hello, everybody. I'm never keep messing around with them anyway. But yeah, it's all about this Eric Cantona post, where at the end of the day he said that I look more like Elton John. Don't start me. I've got to do a serious show. I'll mess about. I'm in a mess about mood. But we are. So Eric Cantona has dropped this sort of hint on Instagram where some people have gone into meltdown because they think it's a hint that Eric Cantona is going to be our next director of football. Now, Eric Cantona is a Manchester United legend. I don't think anybody could argue about that. Icon. Absolute icon. And do I want him as director of football as Manchester United? No, I do not. Where is Eric Cantona's experience of European football, scouting networks, talent, experience in anything other than, sort of banter acting in France? He's an absolute iconic Manchester United legend. Not as good as Sir Bobby Charlton, but Sir Bobby Charlton was a very poor manager as well. Sentimentality is a very, very long distant second to Mitchell from RP Leipzig or Bertra from Atletico Madrid, or somebody who's a director of football who actually has a pedigree. This is Manchester United. It's not a bloody pantomime. It's not jobs for the boys. We need to make sure, if we're having a director of football, that it is somebody who is the best of the best. We did, like Roy Keane used to play for Nottingham Forest. Brian Robson used to play for West Bromwich Albion. Cantona was at Leeds. Ronaldo was in Portugal. We've not always cultivated everybody from the United setup who was born in Old Trafford. You do go and get the best of the best and turn them into United legends. And I think that the director of football is such an important position. It's such an important position that I would rather have Paul Ince. No, I wouldn't. But I'd rather have Eric. I don't want Eric Cantona. What has he done in football since he retired? He's done nothing in football since he retired. I don't want him anywhere near Manchester United as a director of football. And people can say, I understand it. I love Cantona as well, but I'm not deluded. I can split off and say United legend on the football pitch, totally unqualified off the pitch to come in and do a job that is going to be magnificently important. And it feeds into what we're just about to talk about with the 200 million. This person's going to be the advisor to Woodward, the advisor to the manager, and sort of the filling in the middle of the sandwich. And like, if Woodward's the bread and Ollie's the bread, the middle cannot just be Tesco ham. It's got to be, Tesco's finest at the best. It's got to be a lovely sandwich. And I just don't think Cantona has got any pedigree to be the director of football for Manchester United, and under no circumstances. And I would not be excited by it. I think it would be sentimentality, and that's what I mean. We talked about sentimentality on the Tactics show at lunchtime, didn't we? And we were on about, people like Juan Mata who may be dropping off now. We love him. But sentimentality means nothing in high-end football. It's about being ruthless, and I don't see Cantona. If you want to mention Van der Sar, now Van der Sar's a very different thing because he's in a job at Ajax. He's involved in things like that. Ajax have traditionally got a very, very good conveyor belt of European talent, youth coming through, and if Van der Sar's involved in that, then he has got a bit of a pedigree. But for Cantona, to me, it'd be massively exciting, but it'd be a massive jump into the unknown. I mean, what sort of football background has he got other than his playing career? But that's very different, as has been proved before. Just because you've been a good player doesn't mean you're a good coach or a director of football. Why were Arsenal booing Sterling? They ain't Liverpool. He destroyed them yesterday, says Gustavo Cortez. Got no idea, mate. Got no idea. Apparently Liverpool are winning already. I mean, look, at the end, the end of the day, we were always going to beat West Ham tonight. We were always going to beat West Ham. Groovy. But yeah, they were always going to beat West Ham tonight. I'm not bothered about that. That's a longer story game. Dorsey Devil, I was already going to read your tweet out anyway, just to give people a bit of an idea. But so we've got £200 million to spend in the summer. Let me just read some of these comments to give you a gist of what people are thinking. So Dorsey said 100 million on Jadon Sancho, 40 million on Brooks from Bournemouth, and Delit for 60 million. That's 200 million pounds on a right-sided player, another right-sided player, and a centre-back. It's the English player tax, says Drawty. And what else have we got? Koulibaly, Neves, Pepe, and Wan-Bissaka from Connor. Yeah, you're going to need more than 200 million pounds. You're going to need a bigger boat. Koulibaly, Pepe, and Ndidi, says Tahith Chong, number 7 supporter. Again, you might do that. Koulibaly, I'd put at 100 million. Pepe, maybe for 50 million. Ndidi, maybe for 50 million. So that's not a bad one. Koulibaly, Dybala, and Ndombele and Mounier, says Tucker. Yeah, he needs about 400 million. Koulibaly, Bergwijn and Ndombele, says Dazzling Delo. Yep, I could deal with that. And Koulibaly, Ndombele and Bay, says Big L. Yep, Koulibaly. Yeah, so lots and lots of people sort of going with 3 players, which I think for 200 million is quite good. The story is, because somebody says, is this confirmed? So the story floating around the English press is that Manchester United will be looking to spend £200 million in the summer. Obviously, there's no decision on the manager yet, but whoever the manager is, whether it's Ollie or not, he will have an input on that. Now, to me, I'll believe it when I see it that we've got a £200 million budget. I mean, I think 200 million is the minimum. I actually think we probably need 300, maybe 400 million. But you can do some significant damage with 200 million, which we'll talk about in a moment. But Ollie is clearly going to have an input on that because he's going to be the manager till May, and you can't just wait to see what happens at the end of May and then go, right, let's get to work on our transfers. United will be starting on their transfers now, and this is where the complexity and confusion comes around, because if the manager isn't Solskjaer and it's Pochettino or Zidane, well, Zidane may well be involved on the quiet, but say it's Pochettino. Well, Pochettino is Spurs manager now. He won't even think about being Manchester United manager until July, because that's just what will happen. There'll be end of season games, break, contract negotiations. So I don't think Pochettino is going to get the job when you think about it like that, because he wouldn't be in the job till July. And then with United, I mean, Pochettino, nobody will say this because no one's brave enough to say it, so I will say it. If you want Pochettino, and if United get Pochettino, the transfer summer for United is going to be a car crash. In fact, well, Pochettino better get accustomed to no money, because he wouldn't even be in the job till June, July. Then you've got to speak to him about who he wants. Then you've got to start from scratch on those deals. And then he's got to get rid of the players that he doesn't want, that he's going to need to train with. I mean, this is my problem. I like Pochettino. I think he's doing a great job. But the summer would almost be a write-off. We'd have to negotiate with Spurs to get him out of his contract. Then when we get him, he's going to say, I need to have a look at the team and decide who the deadwood is, when we already know. But yeah, they will survive again. Then he's going to have to go and get transfer targets, which we're going to be starting from scratch and trying to do deals in weeks instead of months. So this is where it comes in for me that yes, Solskjaer is the ideal man because he'll be working on it now. But also, Solskjaer will have an input on who we're going to bring in anyway. Because I think United, this is why the director of football is so important. Because if you've got a director of football, the manager becomes less important in transfers. What Pochettino wants becomes irrelevant because he's the manager. The director of football is in charge of transfers. And that's why we need the director of football in yesterday. Not tomorrow, not in the summer, now. We need them now. So this is why Ollie will have an input. For me, if we've got £200 million to spend, and that's what we're going to spend, then I'm relatively happy with that, because I'll tell you now, I can go through some of the names people are talking about there. Snaps is saying we don't want Poch, we want Ole. 300 million will do, says King Nums. And Manolas, Bergwijn, Ndombele, Sessegnon, says Paul McEwen. £200 million. Manolas would be 35 million. Bergwijn would be about 40 million, so that's 75. Ndombele probably about 50, 125. Sessegnon, yeah, you could do those. You could do those for 200 million, Paul, to be honest with you. So yeah, you can do a lot of damage with 200 million. If you want to go top end, Koulibaly's £100 million. Ndidi or Ndombele is probably around £50 million, which leaves you £50 million to go and get yourself a right-sided midfielder, which could be Pepe, from France, or Bergwijn from Holland, or maybe Leon Bailey. For me, I'll be happy with that. 3 players, £200 million. Centre back, centre defensive midfielder, right midfielder. Bish bash bosh. Brilliant. Really, really happy about that. Not interested in what other people are talking about. Well, 200 million plus what we make in sales. Not bothered about that. I don't think United work like that either, because if you want to talk about net spends last summer, we bought Fred, we bought Delot for about 70 million, and we bought Grant, so about 75 million. Who did we sell? Daley Blind. We got rid of a goalkeeper. Our net spend was around 50 million quid. So net spends I'm not interested in. 200 million pounds down, that's what we're going to spend. That's fine. And I think with 200 million, you can get 3 players in, maybe 4 if you go for Manolas instead of Koulibaly, because that frees you up another 50 million quid. So 200 million, I'll take 200 million quite right now. I think if we want to get serious, if we want to get really serious, how serious are you? I would say 300 million, because you might want to. But then again, if you offload Lukaku, you're going to be in the profit anyway. But I think £200 million spend is about right for Manchester United. Anaban says we need a right back. Then you're looking at Wan-Bissaka. He's probably going to be about 50 million. So do I think we're going to get Koulibaly is the first of all. Do we need a centre-back? Because for me, the CDM is the most important position. I want to start taking your calls really, really soon because I want to get your opinions on things. But centre-back, Garth Crooks, actually... He talks a load of nonsense sometimes, and he sort of did today, but a lot of you might agree with him. Garth Crooks is like a pundit for the BBC, and he normally does his team of the week, and he was talking about Bailly and Lindelof, saying how bad they were at the start of the season against Brighton, I think they played. And he said that yesterday they reminded him of prime Costa Curta and Baresi, or Costa Curta and Maldini, and I just laughed because those two are probably one of the most iconic centre-back pairings of the last 20 years. I don't think Bailly and Lindelof are that level yet, but it is encouraging, and I think that sort of poses the question, do you need a centre-back if you've got Bailly and Lindelof? And my answer to that is, of course you do. What if Bailly goes and gets injured for 4 months again? What if Lindelof gets injured for any period of time? You're going to have to play Lindelof. You're going to have to play Jones, or you're going to have to play Smalling. We've got a young lad coming back who I want to see develop into a first-team player over the next 2 years. That's Twan Seaby. But I still believe that Jones should be kicked out of the club, maybe Smalling as well, and bring in a top-class centre-back to compete. You need 3 good centre-backs. You need 3 good centre-backs. And look at Liverpool with Van Dijk. They've solved that problem, but then they've had injury worries with Gomez and Matip, and then, that sort of unsteadies the ship. So I think United have definitely got to go and get a centre-back. Maybe. Hey, that's a bit of Noel, isn't it? Maybe I don't really want to know how your garden grows. Rubbish, absolutely rubbish. Red tinted glasses, I'm thinking I'm good. But maybe, I'll do it again in a minute, maybe you have Bailly and Lindelof as your first choice centre-backs, and then you go and bring in Manolas with his release clause of 35 million, who is also a client of Mino Raiola, to come in and compete. And they're all around the same level there. So maybe you don't go for the star-studded centre-back of Koulibaly, you go for the sort of Manolas, who with 3 centre-backs all around the same age who are very good and the same ability, maybe you go that way and you save a bit, and then you could go Manolas, Wan-Bissaka, Ndombele or Ndidi, and a right midfielder. You get them done for 200 million. 35 million, as the lad was saying before. 35 million for Manolas, 50 million for Wan-Bissaka, so that's 85 million, which gives you 115 million to get a right midfielder. Bergwijn 50 million, Bay 50 million, Pepe 50 million, and a CDM for 50 million, Ndidi or Ndombele. So jobs are good, and 200 million, so that works. 200 million is good. It's good fee. United do things big, guaranteed marquee signings, says the Dillinger compound, and Angel Aguayo says Delit, Lozano, and I'm sure there will be room for another player. Really like the videos, Mark, coming from California. California, here we come. It's really funny because my YouTube video is paused on me with the glasses on, and it just looks a little bit scary. I think there's going to be some pictures of that floating around social media tonight, but you've got to have a laugh. Smash a like on the video, everybody. But I want to start taking your calls. So how do the calls work? I want to blitz through this. Very, 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 very easy, because people always ask me about this. So the link in the video description is there for Discord, okay? It's an exclusive invite. You can't get into the United Stand Discord without the invite, which is in the link in the video description. When you're in the United Stand Discord, you will see these things down the left-hand side. There's general chat groups like this where everyone can have a chat about stuff like that, everything United, fancy Premier League, off-topic stuff like gaming. You can be on there all day with the United Stand community. Get on there, it's great. But when we've got a live show, or if you want to just have chat with United people, you've got the voice channels where you can go in United Voice 1 and just chat away with people. When there's a live show, there's a group called the Call-In Queue. You get yourself in there, you make sure you've got your audio on and you're not muted, and then you just wait to get pulled in by me. It is really that simple. So if you're not ready to do it tonight, just watch that back after the show, get yourself set up, get yourself on the Discord, because there's group chats, there's group voice chats with people all over the world. You're going to really, really enjoy it. But my job tonight is actually to start taking some calls. So let's start taking some calls on the United Stand. I'm going to just grab somebody and I'm going to pull them in. It's going to be Gareth. Can you hear me?
Mark.
How you doing, pal?
How are you?
I'm good, thanks. You?
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you, mate. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah.
Good, good. Go on then. You got £200 million to spend, first of all. How would you spend it at Manchester United in the summer? Where do you think we need to prioritise?
Well, first of all, I think we need to get rid of all the deadwood, which is Ashley Young and Phil Jones and the likes. Fellaini was a good start, but it's not enough there. And we need to get Koulibaly, we need a right winger, Pepe, I'd say. And Ndidi, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting there because you mentioned the three positions which I think most people would agree with, the centre-back, the right midfielder and the CDM. But you started off with Ashley Young, not playing very well at the moment. What do you think the right-back solution is? Would you buy someone or do you fancy Dalot?
Well, we have Dalot already, so I don't see why we wouldn't.
Yeah, I agree.
It's no point playing Ashley Young out of position if we have someone already there to fill the space.
Would you bring Dalot in like sooner rather than later, or do you think do you think sticking with Young because of his experience with the big games coming up? You know, Liverpool, he's had a game against Salah before. PSG, you're going to be against, Mbappe might be swapping sides. Do you think Ollie will bring Dalot in? Would you bring him in at the moment?
Ollie probably won't. He'd probably stick with Ashley Young just for experience, but I'd bring in Dalot definitely.
And just on that subject, I mean, you might have something you want to talk about yourself, but I just want to ask you, Ollie, Manchester United manager, would you give it him now? Are you waiting until May, or have you got your eye on somebody else?
Well, I think it's too early to tell yet, but judging on how he's doing now, I'd definitely give it to him. But we'll see at the end of the season whether he wins anything, and if he gets top four, then I think he should definitely be a contender for it anyway.
Yeah, definitely. Was there anything you wanted to talk about, pal? Sorry, because I did just jump in with a question for you.
No, just transfers, yeah.
Yeah, no worries. Well, I have got another question for you because I want to whiz through as many questions as people as possible tonight, but I want to give you a fair crack of the whip on the show. In relation to Manchester United this season, I think this is a question I want to ask most people tonight as well. What is it that you expect from United this season? I mean, a lot of people are saying, good cup runs. They'd rather go deeper into the Champions League than get fourth place. Do you think we should be looking at 3 tournaments? Do you think we've got the squad for that? What do you think United should be prioritising to achieve, and what do you think they will achieve?
I think we will get top 4. That's probably our main priority, to get top 4 this season. But I think if we want to have a successful season, we have to go far enough in the FA Cup and definitely get past PSG in the Champions League.
Do you fancy us against PSG? I mean, I know they lost to Lyon last night and they haven't got Neymar. Do you fancy United in that over 2 legs?
Yeah, without Neymar, they're not as creative. So yeah, I think we could do a job on them.
Great. Well, thanks for being in the first caller, Gareth, and please do call in again.
Yeah, no problem, man.
Cheers, pal. We will be taking another call in a moment, but I just wanted to say that that's a very important thing. I do follow me on Twitter at Mark Goldbridge. I do like to get into interaction with people, and I am going to start getting on the Discord in the day. So get yourself signed up on the Discord. It's free. Link in the video description. That's how we do our calls on the call-in now. But also you can be chatting to people through the day. I've been on there the last couple of days, and there's no one been in the chat group. So get yourself on the chat groups. But I was talking to somebody on Twitter today, and they were like, no, it was the Football Manager stream, wasn't it? It was somebody in the live comments, and they said, I get confused. And they were saying that, what's your priority? And I said top 4. And they were like, what, over PSG? Yeah. Well, how stupid's that? You want to prioritise Champions League over actually doing well in the Champions League. And I thought for a moment afterwards, am I getting something wrong here? Because this person was really adamant that we should be prioritising the Champions League over getting to 4th. And I was like, but we're not going to win the Champions League. And it's a big effort to win the Champions League, and we could get all the way to the final and Pogba could pull his hamstring and then we won't win the final anyway. But top 4 is there to be grasped now. If you had statistic averages or whatever you want to call it, the chances of us winning the Champions League, the chances of us getting 4th, and the chances of winning the FA Cup, the best prize we've got the best chance of. We'll be 4th next Sunday night if we beat Fulham. We will be 4th. So we're in possession of 4th place. Champions League, God knows what you've got to do to win that. Even if you beat PSG, you could have Liverpool next round, Real Madrid, Barcelona, and that's just to get to the bloody final. FA Cup, all right, you've got to beat Chelsea, tough game. Man City is still in there. You've got 3 or 4 games. But the fourth, I don't like the fact that football has changed and it's become all about this. But I've fallen victim to it like everybody else. 4th place, unfortunately, is far more valuable to us, certainly than the FA Cup. And I don't think the Champions League is achievable. And I spoke about this at lunchtime. So my priority is getting 4th place. 3rd if we can, but my priority is getting 4th place. I don't know what yours lot are. Get in the live comments and tell us. But my concern with United is we saw it against Burnley. We saw it a bit yesterday. Beyond our best 11, we struggle. Sanchez comes in, very inconsistent. Mata comes in, very inconsistent. Pereira, not good enough. Fred, not good enough at the moment. We are 1 or 2 injuries away from a collapse, and we need to be careful about that. Bangay 2011 says 200 million. Memphis, Lamina, James, Maguire. Thoughts? Memphis would cost us about 60 million. Lamina, I don't know. James, 50. Maguire, 80. I think you'd need more than 200 for that. And I don't think they're any. I don't think Memphis, Lamina, James, and Maguire are any better than 4 players like Wan-Bissaka, Pepe, Ndidi, and Manolas. It's just that you'll pay a premium for Maguire. You'll have to pay probably 80 million for Maguire, and you could get Manolas for half that, or Koulibaly for a little bit more, and they're going to be the same sort of player. Part of me today, I'm going to be absolutely honest with you now. I think as football fans, we're very greedy and we want everything, but if we go all out for the FA Cup, the Champions League and the League, we could end up with nothing, because that's going to be loads of games, and I don't think the squad's big enough. And I don't think it is big enough, but it's not reliable enough beyond our best 11. Part of me is like, if we did lose to PSG, which I don't want to, and we did lose to Chelsea, we'd be out of both cups by the start of March, and we can just focus on the Premier League where it's 1 game a week. And I think we'll get top 4. It's how you think, isn't it? It's how you think. It's how you do it. But let's take another call. That's what we're all about. So, I like this name. Let's see if he's answering. Hello, Charlie. Can you hear me?
Oh, hi.
Hey, pal. How you doing? All right?
Yeah.
Good. What do you want to talk about?
Can I talk about, like, the signings?
Yeah. Go ahead, mate. Go on. Floor's yours. What do you want to talk about?
I think that we should sign Jadon Sancho or Lozano to fix, like, our right wing problem.
Hey, I tell you what, I'll have some of that. I do like that. I mean, Jadon Sancho, I mean, let me just ask you about that. Obviously, ex-Man City. He's only been at Dortmund for about a year now, because I think he went around January time last year, didn't he? Would you have any concerns about taking him? 2 things. 100 million, is that a risk? And the fact that he was ex-Man City?
Yeah, no, I do think it's a risk, because I think for 100 mil, we don't already know how good he is, and the English press hype him up because he's English. So I don't know. I think Lozano would be safer.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Lozano. I mean, I don't know how long you've been watching the United stand, but I did talk about Lozano about 3-4 years ago when he was in Mexico, and I really do like him. It's interesting that you've got Bergwijn and Lozano from PSV, and we're more linked to Bergwijn, who I think is a good player, but I do like Lozano. I'll be very happy with any of them, really. But I would just say about Sancho, though, I personally think if he wasn't English, there'd be a lot more hype around him. I think he's good enough to be one of the best players in the world.
Yeah, no, so I do think he has good talent, but I just think it's quite a risk to go with 100 mil for him.
Yeah, and then you'd be probably... the trouble with spending 100 million is if you've only got another 100 million to spend. So how would you spend that? Would you go after... Do you think we need a centre-back, a CDM, a right-back, another striker?
Manolas and Ndembele I'd go with.
Yeah, I like Manolas. I think people just think he's a bit of an unglamorous signing because he's a little bit cheaper, but I do like Manolas. And Ndembele, I mean, what's your thoughts on Matic? Playing very well at the moment.
Yeah, no, he's definitely improved under Solskjaer. Definitely. He's definitely improved under Solskjaer, but isn't he 30 soon? Or is he 30 now?
I think he's 30. Yeah, he's 31 in August. So yeah, he's 30 now.
Yeah, he's 31 soon. And like, he's on the decline. He wasn't the same player he was at Chelsea. Same with Juan Mata. So we're gonna have to get a replacement in at some point. And I think Ndidi and Dembele are perfect.
And what's your priority for this season then? I mean, do you think we can, with the team that we've got, do you think we can go for the cups as well, or do you think we should be focusing on the top four, or what do you think? What do you think is the outcome?
Definitely top four.
It is a bit sad that we all say that, but I do agree. I think the top four is the most important thing. And what about the manager? Where are you on the manager? I mean, is it Ollie all the way, or do you think?
Yeah, I think Ollie, because I think you've said this a while ago that like if we have Zidane or Poch, it's another big manager, like one of the quick fixes like Van Gaal and Mourinho that don't work. But Solskjaer knows the club; he knows what he's doing.
Definitely. Well, a really, really top call. Really, really appreciated it, Charlie, and please do call in again.
Thanks. Can I have one last suggestion?
Yeah.
Can everyone subscribe to the Football Ramble on Twitch? It's my mate's channel.
All right, mate. Cheers. No worries.
Cheers, Mark.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. I always squint. You never know. Maybe it's flashbacks to Skype shows. You just never know what someone's going to say. But really good call that was. Really good call. Really liked that. I agree. Skriniar's getting a mention there from Alan Bua. Ndidi, Bailly, Wan-Bissaka's getting a lot of mention. Remember to drop a like on the video if you are watching and support those people who are calling in, because that's what the United Stand is all about. Grandad Mark Bergwijn is like the new Danny Wallace. That's old school. Grandad 33. I bet a lot of people won't remember Danny Wallace. I remember his brother Rod. Both at Southampton, weren't they? Danny and Rod Wallace. And the Sturridges as well, who I think are related to Daniel Sturridge, but used to have Dean Sturridge, who was at Derby. And then wasn't there a brother who was at Stoke? But, yeah. 1-1, Liverpool and West Ham, apparently, says Philip Anderson. Yeah, maybe. I don't really want to know. I'm doing that again. Hope Liverpool lose. Well done, Charlie, says Maria Treadabate. Anyway, let's take another call. That's what we're here to do today. I'm trying to get people that we haven't had on before, because we've got a massive queue of people waiting to get on, which is great. But problematic, because the call queue is too bloody big for me to drag people up. So that's a pain in the arse. It's alright. We'll find a way. Oh, how annoying is that? Alright, they're going to have to shorten. Oh, no, it might work. No, it won't. Bloody hell, that's annoying. Let's just grab this person. Hello, can you hear me? You're live on the United Stand. Probably not. Your chance is gone, pal. Let's try this person. Hello, you're live on the United Stand. Hello? Okay, we've got a problem with people. Might be something to do with their audios. Let's have that one. Hello, you're live on the United Stand. Can you hear me? They won't hear me because they're muted. Right, I'm just going to go to the live comments, people. Nicholas P says, it's strange that we can crave top four to be in the Champions League, then don't prioritise it. It's like going to a fancy party just to show your face. Nicholas, what a contribution. What a point. Tony Bain says, what about Thomas Partey from Atletico Madrid? Very, very good player. Very good bright-sided player as well. Well done, Tony Payne. But going back to what Nicholas P said there, I think that's what the person was trying to get at before. That you know, why prioritise fourth to get in the Champions League when we're in the Champions League now? And that is a very logical point. But my my thought process on this is a very logical thing as well. And that is this, that I don't think we're good enough to win the Champions League at the moment. So prioritising it and missing out on being in it next season isn't worth the risk. But next season, with the money that we should spend, I think we maybe can take the Champions League more seriously and be in a more comfortable position in the top four, that we're not having to go for that. I think I hope this makes sense. It probably won't. But yes, we could prioritise the Champions League, but I think we'll miss out on top four and not win the Champions League. Whereas this season, I think if we prioritise top four, next year we'll be able to do both. I just don't think we're in a position to do both at the moment, and I think prioritising the Champions League, we won't win it. We're not good enough to beat Barcelona. We're not good enough to beat Juventus. We're not good enough to beat some of the better teams in the tournament. And I know people will say, well, we beat Juventus in Turin, but if you played that game 10 times, we'd only win it once. I don't think United have got the team to win the Champions League. I'd love us to do it, but would I risk it against getting into it next year? I probably wouldn't. But it's a great point. That's why we're discussing it. Karen Bansai, Kante isn't settled at Chelsea. 100 million for him. I would love Kante to come to Manchester United. He'd be absolutely perfect. And if you had to choose, go to every Arsenal home game or spend a weekend in Paris with Jizz and his mum's credit card. Cheers, mate. Love your shows. Smut Beers. Well, that's very an in-joke, isn't it, for my FIFA streams? But I'd probably spend a weekend with Jizz, to be honest with you. Yeah, that's what I'd probably do. Hello, can you hear me? People are on mute in the call-in queue, so how can you take a call if you like that? Don't make no sense. Hello, Aidan, can you hear me? Hello? This Discord thing just ain't working. What you need to appreciate with Discord is if you're listening to me on there, but you're in the queue, listen for me in the queue, because what you're seeing on telly is going to be about 30 seconds ahead of the queue. So if you want to call in, I'm pulling people into the queue, but you're not ready to come in, if that makes sense. Hello, you're live on the United Stand. Can you hear me? Oh, I don't know what's going on with people tonight. Hello, can you hear me? You're live on the United Stand. Oh, this is a joke.
Hello?
Oh, shit, he was there. Hello, Chris, can you hear me?
Hello?
Hello, you're live on the United Stand, pal. What do you want to talk about? Oh. Live TV is great, isn't it? It's the best thing in the world. It's absolutely superb. Hello, can you hear me? You're live on the United Stand.
Hey, Mark, how you doing?
I'm good, thanks. You?
I'm good. How's what do you want to talk about? I guess you were asking everyone about how they'd spend the 200 million.
Well, I'm going to ask you that question there, actually, that I was just answering. What would you prioritise at the moment, the Champions League or fourth? Considering that I said fourth, but some people are saying, why would you prioritise qualifying for something you're already in?
So that's from my perspective. I really think we need to be in that top four, because it's just looking kind of for the future. We got to be in the Champions League next year. Obviously, we have to have a good transfer window and to have everything move forward that way. But I mean, we all want to do well in the Champions League, and I think for me it's a bonus. But we do need to prioritize being in that top four, because just like me and you, we don't want to be in that Europa League. And next year, I think we'll have a better chance at winning the Champions League if we have a better team.
Good answer. I agree with that. It's pretty much what I think. Just on the we'll go on to the transfers bit next. Then, if you got 200 million, where would you be looking to spend that in the summer? The reports are that Ollie will have an input. He may well be the manager himself, but he will have an input, because obviously, if he's not the manager, a new manager is going to come in very, very late, and United need to be working on transfers now. So, where would you be wanting Ollie to advise United to be looking at? Have you got any particular players?
Well, I mean, in the particular positions, I think obviously a centre half, an experienced centre half is important. And then also in the midfield, we need some depth. I mean, look at all the top teams. They have probably like 6 5 or 6 midfielders that they're rotating, and obviously a right midfielder. But I think we have enough attacking options to get by with what we have. We have good players there, so I'd look at definitely someone like Koulibaly or even an Alderweireld or a Manolas, someone who can help the young guys get through. Probably a backup right back if Delo is ready, and then a top class midfielder. And I'm not talking about someone who might become good. I'm talking about a top class midfielder that is on the same level as Pogba, as De Bruyne, someone that is going to be a big splash signing that's going to solidify our midfield absolutely. And I think we have young players that I'd like to see get a chance, like Garner, and I mean Pereira is someone I'm not sure is going to make it, but I mean give him a full season under the program and see what happens. And I mean that's where I'm at. What do you think?
No, I agree. I think I take notes and I listen, and obviously I think that I mean momentum stocks just said 200 million isn't a lot. I would agree that we probably need a little bit more, but I still think 200 million can get you 3/4 players. And I think basically most people would say centre back, CDM, right midfielder, and maybe a right back, but I think we could do without a right back, to be honest with you. And I think 200 million for those 3 core positions. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I mean, obviously, if Lukaku goes, you'd probably use his money to bring in a striker anyway. I think if people go, use the money to replace them. But centre-back, I mean, Bailly and Lindelof, hopefully they're going to pin that down and we won't see Phil Jones. If they played really well between now and the end of the season, would you still go and get a top-class centre-back? Or do you think that Bailly and Lindelof can be the long-term solution?
I mean, I've heard this from you several times, and I've heard it. I was watching, for instance, Do You Want to Win? It's like a Prime Video thing on Leeds, and they were talking about Sir Alex Ferguson just going to a player that Leeds bought and said, "You're going to Leeds tomorrow. We're selling you," and that ruthlessness, basically what I'm saying, trying to get at. And I don't think half a season or a fifth of a season is enough to tell me that Eric Bailly is good enough to count on. And for that reason, I think we have to go get another player that is a sure thing. I mean, Axel Tuanzebe is going to be coming back. He could play, I believe, on the as a fullback as well. But I mean, I would like that to happen, but I don't think it's a position that we can take any chances with right now. You saw what Van Dijk has done for Liverpool, and we need to solidify that position without any risk, in my opinion.
No, I think that's right. It's a really good point because it's that aggression in the transfer window to be and desire to be the best. And I think if I'm trying to think of a scenario with a good, well, it's like we've got Rashford and Marcial. If PSG rang us up and went, look, we don't want to sell him to City, we don't want to sell him to Barcelona or Real Madrid, we've got to sell him. You can have Mbappe for 100 million. Would United go, no, we've already got Rashford and Marcial? No, they shouldn't. They should go, yeah, we'll do it. Yeah, I'll deal with the problems about how I fit him in later. I'm going to get somebody who is... I mean, Mbappe is better than Rashford and Marcial at the moment. And I think that, again, it's moving away from that sentimentality. I'm not saying United are going to get Mbappe or they should get Mbappe, but if you like Lindelof and Bailly, that's great. I like them. But if there's an opportunity to get Koulibaly, we shouldn't refuse it just because we're happy with Lindelof and Bailly. It might only be a slight improvement, but it's still an improvement. And I think that's really important that we do look at it like that. It's always about improving. That's what winners do.
And then we also need to look at it this way, Mark, is think about this. Look at a guy like Mourinho. There's one thing that we could say for sure. If you've got it, it doesn't matter how old you are, you're going to play. He did that with Varane. And, I mean, I'm not saying that Bailey's not going to be a good first team quality player. I think he already is when he's playing at his best. I just think that if he was as good as we're hoping he would be, I think he would have shown it by now.
Yeah, it's interesting. Just very quickly as well, manager of Manchester United next season. Who do you want to be in that position?
Last time we talked, I told you I thought Pochettino was the right guy, and I think I'm kind of changed on that after seeing how things have gone. I want Ollie to win the job, but I'm also on the air of caution that we have to wait for the entire season to finish and see where things are at. But I mean, I just remember watching when I see United now. I remember what it was like before Sir Alex left, and I think that that's important to keep that identity. But at the same time, you've heard Gary Neville and a bunch of pundits come out, or ex class of '92 guys, saying that we should be looking for the best guys, and I don't disagree with that. But if Ollie can continue just the way we're going, I would probably stick with him.
Great. Well, really good call, Paz, and thanks for calling in, and please do call again.
Would love to. Have a good one.
You too, pal. Thank you very much. Really good call there. Make sure you drop a like on the video for us there. There's something I should have said at the start, actually, because I didn't know how many people... I want to really go on the live comments on this, because it's not really something you can put to one caller. So I did my Football Manager stream this afternoon, which you can watch on Mark Goldbridge, That's Football. And after that, I was just messing about, having a cup of tea, went on my phone, and I saw this clip of... I saw something about Mourinho's slip and Gerrard's slip, and I thought, oh, what's all that about? Boring. But then I went back on my phone about an hour later, and I saw this clip of Mourinho slipping over on an ice hockey thing, and it looked photoshopped to me, and I was like, that's a load of rumpish. But then I looked through my timeline, I was like, oh, this is clearly real. So Mourinho, I don't know where it is, it looks like Russia or something. He's at some ice hockey game, they're waiting, there's a crowd, there's a red carpet, he's there to throw the puck in, and as he's thrown it in, he turns around and slips on his arse. It's absolutely hilarious if I didn't feel absolutely sorry for him, humiliating himself again. I mean, look, whatever I say about Mourinho, it's very, very funny, but I do sort of feel sorry for the bloke who has got £15 million in his pocket for messing our club up. But, you know, I do respect Mourinho, I've got to be honest. I know he's messed Man United up, but he was a big part of my sort of growing up as a football fan, and I didn't like him, but he was very successful. But, yeah, he's being humiliated, isn't he? He's humiliated. I mean, Ollie has absolutely humiliated him. I mean, it must be nobody in any walk of life could deal with that in any good way, where you've gobbed off about being one of the best in the world, you've absolutely messed up, and then a caretaker manager comes in and wins. What are we on now? Is it 9 wins and a draw? Yeah, 9 wins and a draw. Everybody's playing fantastically well. We've gone from mid-table club to top 4, you know, virtually, playing great football. He's been humiliated. I mean, all I would advise Mourinho to do is, for all the slips and all the humiliation you're getting, just get your online banking on and look at your bank account, because there's not many people who's going to have that much money in their account. And you know, but does money make you happy? I don't know, but it's on my Twitter feed at Mark Goldbridge if you want to see the slip from Mourinho. I thought it was a Photoshop. It's absolutely genuine, and it's very humiliating for him. I do feel a bit sorry for him, but a lot of people are laughing about it. 8 wins and a draw, sorry, says James Mellier. I thought we were up to... No, I thought we were 10 now. I think it's 9 wins and a draw, isn't it? Because I'm sure after Fulham it'll be 11. I think it's 9 wins and a draw. I keep getting it mixed up. Whatever it is, it's absolutely brilliant. And on top of that, let me just say, they should be announcing Manager of the Month soon. The only 3 contenders are Solskjaer, Sean Dyche and the Southampton manager. If they give it to Sean Dyche or the Southampton manager over Solskjaer, the FA can do one, or whoever's in charge of it. That's bollocks. Absolute shite. He has only been in the job a month. He took over a sinking ship, and has revolutionised Manchester United Football Club. Of course, he's got more resources than Dyche and bloody Southampton, but it's all relative to what you take over. The United ship was sinking. He's plugged the gap, and he's got us flying again. He's got us back in the race. He has to win Manager of the Month. And the interesting thing about that is that no Manchester United manager. He'd be the first Manchester United manager to win Manager of the Month since Sir Alex Ferguson. Moyes didn't win one, Van Gaal didn't win one, Mourinho didn't win one. In his first month as Manchester United manager, interim as well, he'd be the first Manchester United manager to win Manager of the Month since Sir Alex Ferguson won it, which would be absolutely sensational. And he deserves to get it. So I'm really hoping that's going to happen. I never trust the powers that be when it comes to United, though. It would not surprise me if someone like Sean Dyche got it, but never in a million years should he do it. Never in a million years. Shodapoo is messy, says Unknown27. I tell you what, I'm really enjoying doing my Salford City Football Manager on Mark Goldbridge, That's Football, and people will be wondering who Shodapu is. I've got him on loan. He's the Vanarama Messi. But the next stream is going to be very interesting because I have been threatened with the sack. People were saying on the stream today, you'll get threatened with the sack. And I'm like, no, I'm 5th. It's fine. We're not even at Christmas yet. They've bloodied the class of 92. They've threatened to sack me. I had to beg for my job. They're giving me another month. And now it's on the line. So there we go. West Ham and Liverpool are 1-1 at half-time, by the way. Please do drop a like on the video, everybody. And subscribe if you are new. Let's take another call. I'd give Solskjaer manager of the year if he gets his top 4, to be honest. The job he's done would be absolutely magnificent. Absolutely magnificent. And I don't underestimate it for one little moment. I really, really don't. Let's see if we can get somebody else on. Hello, you're live on the United Stand. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, mate. How you doing?
I'm good, thanks. You?
Yeah, lovely, Mark. I'd just like to say one thing. I think it's great what you're doing for this club. I'm a huge fan of the United Stand. I'm very out of touch with social media, to be honest. I only found out about the channel about 2 months ago, and I've gone back and watched so many of your videos, mate. I think it's absolutely wonderful for what you're doing. The point I wanted to raise was what you said about the Champions League. I think purely because we're in it, mate, we have to go for it. We're Man United. We're going to pull the players in whether we qualify for the Champions League next year or not. I just think we're in it. There's 16 teams left. Why can't we just go and win the whole thing? We're Man United.
I'll tell you what, it's a refreshing point because it's not the one I agreed with or the one from the previous point, but we like to get the different sides of things. And to be honest with you, it's logical. You know, you try why are we putting every effort into qualify for next year when we're in it now? I mean, I don't think we can win it. It doesn't mean that we can't. I just worry about injuries to key players. But if you prioritise it, maybe that's the way to go and not worry about top 4 so much.
To be honest, I've always been an optimist, being a United fan my whole life. I think top 4's pretty much in the bag now. I mean, it's us and Chelsea because, you know, Banter FC aren't going to put up a fight. So I think purely because we're in it, if we... looking at Ole as well, about giving him the job, if he can get... Let's just say that PSG and the Chelsea FA Cup game are part of the league. If we can get 4 points from those 3 games, I'm happy as Larry. And to be honest, it doesn't really matter what 3 games they are. I just think it just shows what a good job he's done, bringing our club together. I mean, if he'd have said... If you were asked, you know, 7 weeks ago, would you give Ole the full-time job if in 10 games' time you've won 9 and drawn 1? Do you know what I mean? I mean, I'm so happy. It's so refreshing to be a United fan at the moment. I'm absolutely over the moon with everything that we're doing. Yeah, we can, as you say, lose the Deadwood FC. You know, Lukaku, what is he doing? He was an absolute disgrace in the Leicester game. Sanchez, you know, we're heavily invested in him, so I understand why there's people still on his side, giving him a chance and all that. But you know, in terms of the Champions League, I really think we got to go for it. I think every time we're in that tournament, we got to go for it.
It's a good point as well about the run that we've had under Ollie, because I was talking to somebody about this yesterday, and we were basically saying that, if anything, people think that the Ollie past with United is a good thing, and it certainly is. But in some ways, I think not many people may have thought of it like this, but in some ways it's probably a hindrance, because we're all like, oh, he's only managed Cardiff, Mulder, you know, should he get the job and that? But if Ollie had no connection to United and he was just the, you know, maybe he's, you know, the next
he
big
would get
thing.
a look in. He would get a look in.
But if he'd just come in from Europe and he was like, he'd managed, I don't know, some Portuguese side and we took a chance on him, and in his first 9 or 10 games he's done what he's done, everyone would be like, we've got the best thing in the world. I think sometimes we need to look past his history at United and look at what he's doing in this short period of time.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
And if he had no connection to United, we'd be like, oh, where'd we get this person from? He's bloody brilliant.
Yeah, where's he come from?
Yeah, because it is. I mean, Fellaini out the door, Lukaku and Sanchez on the bench, the results on the pitch. It's absolutely amazing. I mean, I agree. I don't know about you. I mean, I personally would be waiting till May to see what happens. I wouldn't give him the job now.
I mean, obviously, we all know he's got a very, very tough February coming in. I think from the back end of that, we can kind of have a better feel on things of, you know, how he's going to cope when he's under severe pressure, which I'm sure this month will give to him. But as I said, as I stand, I couldn't be happier with the way things are going. I mean, I was really losing my patience with my team, especially under the back end of the Mourinho saga. But I've been lifted. Do you know what I mean? I love this club, and I've been lifted so much, and it's absolutely wonderful to see what's going on at the moment.
Just finally, because a lot of people have been talking about this, the summer coming up, if we've got a couple $100 million to spend, is there any areas that you feel, we've definitely got to be spending it on that? Because I know that people have different ideas.
Well, it's obvious, isn't it? I mean, Ashley Young, I know he wears a badge on the shirt and that, but, we need a replacement for him. In terms of centre-backs, you know what? I'm really happy with how Lindelof and Bailly are doing. I wasn't so sure about Bailly, a couple of months back. He wasn't getting much game time. He was making some silly mistakes. But the last couple of games he's played, he's played the old 90 minutes. He's looked an absolute beast. I love the guy to bits at the moment, but we'll see how that goes. I know people might get on my back, but I still think we need sort of like a world-class sort of centre midfielder. I know we got Matic and Pogba and Herrera at the moment, but I think Matic in the next couple of years he's going to be gone, and so we need to be sort of basing our team around the centre of the pitch, I think.
Definitely. Well, really good call, mate. You're getting a lot of love in the live comments, so I think it was a very good debut from you, and please do call in again.
Yeah, cheers, Mark. I think it's great what you're doing, mate. Have a good one.
Cheers, pal. Thanks for that. I just want to say about that as well, because I'll always reflect any praise that I personally get. It's not about me. I know I started the channel, and I am great. I'll put my glasses on for this, but red tinted glasses. The United Stand's success is because of you lot. It's because of people like that calling in. It's because people who are committed to the channel. It's the community that we've built. It's a fan channel. It's the people who queue up to do the fan cams. It's the people who want to come on here. It's the people on the live comments. It's the people on the live comments and now before we go live chatting amongst each other. It's the people not watching live putting their comments on the videos or just watching it when they get up. So we share everything together. So any bit of positivity that the United Stand gets, it's yours. And anybody who's been with us from 4 years ago to 4 minutes ago, you will know that that's the way it works. We share it together. And we've always been like that. And people say, people used to say when I first started, it's the fan channel. It's all about you. What a cliche load of bullshit. And I thought, when you're starting out, I can sort of understand that. But I think 4 years down the line, people know that that's very sincere. And we're always looking at things we can do together. We're always valuing the community. And if we see something really good in there, we'll bring it into the conversation. And that's why we want to get as many of you involved as you can. So remember to subscribe, bottom right hand corner. Drop a like on the video because we've had some really good calls tonight. And definitely familiarise yourself with Discord. As I said at the start of the video there, it's very easy to do. Get in Discord, the link's in the video description. That's an invite link. You won't get into the United Stand Discord by anywhere because that's our server. And once you're in there, you can see the topics. You can get into live chats with people. You can even go into the call, the voice queue chat and chat with people all around the world about all sorts. And I sometimes go in there as well. So get involved with it. Definitely do. And get involved with the United Stand. And some breaking news today, actually, that I will be the new United Stand football team manager. We did have a game last year. It was meant to be a one-off, but it looks like we're going to have a United Stand football team very, very soon, where I'll be the manager. Maybe a hint of player manager, but I want to be the manager. And we're probably going to have a trial day very, very soon where we'll get a load of players down. We'll be inviting anybody who fancies a go and starting to build a team with a proper kit and everything like that. So that's very exciting as well. But obviously, Manchester United is the priority. That is why we are here. That is the club that we love. Never take the glasses off again, says Alexi Yosa. I'm loving the glasses. They've got superpowers. Yeah, they're good. We'll keep them as a prop. Anyway, thanks everyone for watching. Really enjoyed the show. And we're back tomorrow. Got Flex and Rants at 1 o'clock. I'll be back at 8 o'clock tomorrow. Yes, I will. And then on Wednesday, obviously, we've got some stuff for you because, it is February the 6th, the Munich tragedy anniversary, 61st anniversary. No less significant than the 60th anniversary. Just because it's a round number, it's still very important to us as a fan base. So we'll have some content up for you about that as well. A sad middle of the week, but with the sadness comes the hope and the resurrection. And Manchester United will never forget, but we'll always fight on. And I think, the Munich tragedy has got nothing to do with what's going through with United at the moment, but having Ollie in our charge of our club It's a different feel to what we've had with the last few managers. It feels like we're getting our club back and we're more in sync with what our club's about. And that's why when Mourinho was in charge and I was saying this is not the United way, he doesn't play the youth, he doesn't play the right way, it's because I support Manchester United, because my granddad, who's no longer with us, adored the Busby Babes before the tragedy, because they were a good football team, because they played attacking football, because they were youthful. He was passionate about that and I'm passionate about that. And with Ollie, we've got somebody who understands what this bloody club's all about, because Sir Alex Ferguson knew what this club was all about, because Sir Alex Ferguson was in sync with Matt Busby and what this club's all about. And Ollie learnt off Sir Alex, and that is why this buzz is very, very important about us. This youth, this Manchester United way, this attack, this the way that we should be able to beat everybody. We're getting our club back. And that is why I'm very passionate about it. And that is why it's very important again on Wednesday, February the 6th, because that commemorates something that symbolises what our club is all about. It was a tragedy, but it was a young, exciting, vibrant, risk-taking team taken away from us, and we must always try to play football in the way that club played, that team played football. That's what we are. They are us. We breathe it and we feel it on February the 6th. So make sure you get involved with the channel on that day. We've got some interesting chats with the Manchester Munich Memorial Foundation. Pat's going to come on. We've got a Paddy interview as well. So there's all sorts of stuff going on. It's serious, obviously, but Manchester United hopefully are on their way back. So thanks everyone for watching. Smash a like. Have some really good calls tonight, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your evening.